He's a tough street-fighting lawyer with the highest ratings for honesty and integrity. He's here to answer your legal questions and get you the help you need. You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with your lawyer, Joe Ingram of Joe Ingram Law. Joe Ingram has more than 20 years' experience fighting for his clients here in the state of Alabama. Joe's focus is criminal defense and family law. You don't have to face your legal issue alone. You've got Joe Ingram on your side. In case of sensitive legal matters, you can always reach out directly to Joe at joeingramlaw.com and arrange for a private consultation. And now, Alabama's defender of the defenseless, protector of the people, and all-around good guy, Joe Ingram.
All right. You're listening to the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, your Alabama lawyer, on WERC 105.5 FM. Today is December the 27th, 2025. Christmas is over. Thank God. We just got one show left for December. Coming back in January 26th, we go back to our 2-hour podcast format starting in January. Folks, we glad to have you here today. We get to officially announce some big news. Coming in January of 26, we will be on in the Huntsville market, 102.5 WBHP Talk Radio from noon to 2. And we're also going to be on in the Tuscaloosa market as well, 105.9 WRTR Road Tide Roll. We'll be on Saturdays from 6 to 8 as well for 2026. So Huntsville and Tuscaloosa, welcome to the Legal Lowdown, being part of our podcast and show. Like, listen, download, share it with your friends. Anything you need, give us a call. We are glad to be a part of your markets as well. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram. My office handles primarily family law, divorce, and criminal law as well. And we're going to go ahead and announce it. Yes, we're back. We're going back to start doing personal injury in 26. We are not billboard lawyers. We are not TV lawyers. We are real lawyers. And if you have a personal injury case, we are going to be doing personal injury cases in 2026. If you need representation, call my office, 205-825-5297, 205-825-5297. You can talk with Elizabeth or Holly, my intake specialist. They can get you in for a consultation if you need representation. Now that Christmas is over and you just finished looking at your in-laws around the table and you weren't happy and you were drinking, now is the time to file for divorce, folks. Go get your tax returns, your bank statements, your 401k statements, all your financial records. Call my office. It's time to file for divorce now, okay? For those of you during the month of December that either went to the Christmas work party, or you went to a party and you got hyped up and made some bad decisions, as Vince Vaughn used to say. If you got a DUI and you need representation, call my office as well. For those of you that did not take my advice, that you went to the party and you had anxiety and you took somebody's Klonopin, Xanapin, all the good drugs we take when we have anxiety and we're around people and we don't like to be around them, and you got stopped with that DUI, and they said, do you have any drugs in your system or do you have any medication in your purse? And you had that one little Klonopin pill. Guess what, folks? You just got charged with possession of a controlled substance. That's a felony. And if you don't have a prescription for it, you're going to need representation for that. You're looking at some jail time, or probably doing a drug court program at least. Okay. So anyway, that's us. We practice from Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile, Tuscaloosa, and even the Dothan area. It's our little side joke. If you'll go back and listen to the very first podcast, you'll know why we joke about Dothan. So if you need representation, give us a call. We'll be glad to have you. We teased up last week. If you listened, we had Senator Doug Jones, who is on his election quest to march toward the capital of Montgomery. We teased up that we were going to have a guest today, and he's here. His name is Justin Jones. He is an attorney here in Birmingham, Alabama. He is a partner with Hare Wynn, and Justin's here with us. Justin, how are you today, sir?
Good, my man. Thank you for having me. It's really an honor, and it's actually a crack up. So we met, probably a year ago.
We did.
Something like that. And I actually enjoy every time I talk to you because it's always something super interesting. And some weird, fascinating set of facts or circumstances you want me to look at, and we haven't been able to tie one on yet, just for loose end. I mean, there's things, there's always problems that you got to overcome in cases, but we're going to get a good one at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to knock it out of the park.
We will.
But thank you for having me. This is a huge honor for me, and it's my second radio show. The other one was when I worked in radio sales. Lance Taylor over at well, I guess whatever podcast he does now. I don't know.
Right.
He was at JOX at the time with Tony Curry.
Yeah.
I did a radio show with them then. It was probably terrible. I hope they destroyed the footage after I got done.
Oh, Justin.
But I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you, sir. Tell the podcast and the audience a little bit about your history and being a personal injury lawyer.
Well, without going too deep into it, so as you said in introducing me, I'm a trial lawyer. We're doing civil litigation. And a partner at Hare Wynn. And Hare Wynn's got a long, extended history of, I think, frankly, being on the front end of a lot of big movements in civil litigation for a really long time. But we've been around 135 years. Now, long before I ever came to Hare Wynn, though, I was a pastor, ordained Southern Baptist minister at the age of 18. I'm from Jasper, Alabama. And I worked and went to Sanford for religion, and then I went to seminary and did that for a couple of years, and I was a youth pastor down in South Florida for a while, and then decided that I was going to switch to the dark side and become a lawyer. and so I became a lawyer about 2009. So I've been doing it for about 16 years, and the entire time it's been on the plaintiff's side, representing victims, people that have been harmed in some way from someone else's negligence. I've been doing that so I'm working on 16, going on 17 years now, and wouldn't do anything else. You said you do, family law and criminal law.
Yeah.
How about it, man? You're not going to get any competition from me.
That's okay. It doesn't bother me. Justin, when you went to law school, did you always what was your reason to go to law school, or did you know that you wanted to do what you're doing?
No, I actually had a very definite reason for going to law school, and it was to do like business transactions. I didn't even know if I wanted to be a lawyer. I liked sort of the study, the reading. I always found it actually remarkably law school to be remarkably similar to seminary. You're looking at text, you're trying to figure out the meaning of the text, you're trying to apply it to somebody's life. I actually always found that sort of overlapping dynamic there. But I actually just wanted to probably run a business, start a business, be an entrepreneur, do something like that. And then, by the way, this is notwithstanding the fact that by the time I got to law school, I'd probably preached 300 sermons.
Wow.
At that point. For whatever reason, that's what I wanted to do. But then I get into law school, and I was asked to try out for Cumberland's national trial team.
Mm-hmm.
And the tryout was just a closing argument. Well, that's just a sermon by another name.
Yeah.
So I was able to go in without even really any prep or anything else and just talk for 30 minutes and give my, rain down fire and brimstone on whatever the facts of that case were. And the trial team coach, the guy that was holding the auditions, everything else, is now Judge Jim Roberts over Circuit Court in Tuscaloosa.
In Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so he was my trial team coach. And so anyway, he asked me if I wanted to be on the national trial team, and I wound up getting partnered with a girl named Megan Head, who is now Megan Jones.
Yeah.
So we became trial team partners, and we kicked butt everywhere we went. And then we got married, and the rest is history. We now have 2 boys, 8 and 6, and we're not going to need your services anytime soon. Everything's going well.
Oh, Justin. That's okay. Your lovely wife, by the way, I've had a couple cases with her.
I'm sorry.
She used to be Huey Farnabuke, and now
right.
she's with her
Clark May Price.
Clark May Price,
right.
Clay Clark. Yeah.
And the interesting fact there is she does mostly
defense,
medical malpractice defense.
Okay. Well, at the time she was doing worker comp defense,
and she still does that with Clay Clark.
Yeah. And I had a couple worker comp cases with her. She was stingy with $1. She did not want to come off with $1. She didn't care if you had your whole spine refused. She didn't want to give you $1.
Hey,
So,
listen, I don't get sideways with her about money at home either, so don't worry about it.
but she's a very nice lady.
Well, thank you.
You're a very nice man, but as we always say, we married up, right?
Married way up. And look, it's actually, so as I was going to get into this, I do almost exclusively now, and it's just kind of the way it's turned out. It's not something you really choose to do, I don't think, but I do almost exclusively medical malpractice litigation or medical negligence litigation. I guess tongue-in-cheek call it patient advocacy litigation, healthcare accountability litigation. But so I do the suing, and she does the defending.
Yeah.
And remarkably enough, and you probably dealt with this in some of your past episodes, I mean, not having to talk about work, not getting to talk about work has actually been a huge boost for our, personal relationship. It's like you've got to find something else to sit down around the dinner table and sit around in the living room at night and talk about. So it's actually, strangely enough, been the best thing for us. But that's what she does. So we are on two sides of some of the most hotly contested litigation in Alabama.
Right.
It's pretty stressful.
So the rule is that y'all don't talk about work at home, or not at all?
I mean, if it's sort of just in general terms, I mean, we talk about, our professional lives, but she just happens to represent too many clients that our firms are conflicted out of one way or the other, or we're conflicted out of it personally.
I see.
Even though our firms can technically take it on. And so we have several pending cases where Clark May Price, their client is being sued.
Right.
And so I have to stay away from those and
they wall you off.
Absolutely wall you off, stay off the files. I can't even access those files.
Right.
And that's I guess the miracle of not having a big paper file to run downstairs and look at. Now it's all electronic and digital. We're largely paperless at Hare Wynn now. So
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm always amazed by that because I'm an old school guy. I'm still a paper guy. So we still have all the paper files, all the pleadings, all that.
Well, there's no getting around it when you go to trial, right? I mean, we're printing off thousands and thousands and thousands of pages, but I this week alone, I probably let's say 2 existing files and 2 or 3 potential files where somebody's referred us a case. I mean, I've looked at literally thousands of pages of documents, medical records in particular, and I mean, there's just no way to be a paper office with that. And look, frankly, I mean, the way that the new apps on your iPad app or with artificial intelligence now, whether it's, using our in-house stuff, we use Copilot in-house, it's sort of walled off, or whether you're using, ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other ones. I mean, I think it's nice, actually. I mean, if you just bite the bullet and sort of start moving in that direction, everything's in one place. I can be I was in Columbus, Ohio last week on a deposition. I can just pull up the entire file. I don't have to carry a truck around with me. I mean, it's nice. I like being paperless, and I think it once you get used to it, it greatly improves sort of your efficiency.
Right.
And how you can sort of administratively manage a case, particularly the kind of cases that we have where there are just medical records alone. You could easily get 5,000-10,000 pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're speaking with Justin Jones. This is the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, 105.5 WERC. I forgot to mention, folks, our big partner in this. If you go to the little red app on your phone, the iHeartRadio, if you click on the iHeartRadio app, that's the Spy for Rent hotline. Spy for Rent hotline. If you'll click on that and you have a text message, you can give us a call or send us a message, and we'll talk about whatever you need to. We're talking with Justin Jones today. He is a partner at Hare Wynn. He is a premier trial lawyer. I've gotten to know him over the year, and he was so gracious to give us an hour of his time today. I've gotten to talk to Justin maybe a half a dozen times this year, and he's such a nice man, and I asked him to do this. I think he's phenomenal. Justin, let's talk a little bit about your kind of practice you do.
Sure.
So how do you get the kind of cases that Hare Wynn does?
All right, so let's kind of go back in history a little bit. Before I came to Hare Wynn, over the last decade to 20 years, they had actually been pretty heavily involved in a lot of mass tort or class action type things where you've either got hundreds of clients or you've got one client with hundreds of other people being represented through the action itself. And so they did that for a long time. Now, slowly over that, say in the last 10 to 20 years, they're single event cases as opposed to mass tort cases. So we've got one car wreck or one product liability, one medical malpractice, whatever. Those started increasing exponentially, particularly with medical malpractice. And for reasons we can go into in a minute, but we just happen to be one of a handful of firms throughout the state of Alabama that spends a lot of time, a lot of energy, and frankly, a lot of money on medical negligence cases. And so at this point, when I came to Hare Wynn a little over a year ago, I was thrust right into the middle of where basically all I have is medical malpractice cases. And all I review is medical malpractice cases. And I got to tell you, I don't know the numbers, but I can tell you that, 100 come in over the last year. We're only actually pursuing maybe 2 of those. I mean, we're spending a lot of time and a lot of money turning those down. Now, most of them that we wind up filing, I think it may be just by accident. I don't know this. Actually, something we probably should look at a little bit more. They come from referring attorneys, people that say, I know there's something here. Can't really put my finger on it. Or if I could put my finger on it, I don't want to spend the next 4 years doing it, and I don't want to spend $150,000. Let me send it to somebody that does this. Because there are, it's every area of law. Like I would dare not do a criminal case. I could go read about it. I'm sure I could figure it out, but it would take me forever, and I'd just leave it to the expert like you. You just know what you're doing when that happens. So we get a lot of calls from good lawyers that just say, hey, look, I just got something here, and it's not in my wheelhouse. You guys want to take a look at it.
Right.
And then I would say that's probably the bulk of what we file, but we get hundreds of calls from people just had a bad outcome, whether it was or mom had a bad outcome in a hospital or they were mistreated. We get a lot of those, so we spend a lot of time dealing with that, and that's half case review and half counseling is what that really winds up being. But we get a lot of direct calls, and I don't know if that's a social media thing or if it's just a Google SEO because of the name and what we've done, and I don't know, but we've got a good reputation particularly for doing medical malpractice stuff. So that's largely what we focus on.
Yeah. So for every probably 10 cases, for probably every 50 cases you look at, you may only take one. That are really legitimate claims.
And I'll tell you what. So this is not an exaggeration. We spent over $1 million last year turning down cases. Okay. That's man hours. That's not just I'm calculating just random hours. We have people on staff that we pay to vet things initially. We have people on staff that do nothing but get medical records. We have a nurse practitioner on staff with 30 years of experience. She spends a lot of time looking at these things. We have third-party vendors that we use that give us access to doctors throughout the country who they don't want to be testifying experts, but they're smart people. And on the side, they're willing to sort of consult with us and give us an idea of whether we have something there or not. And by the time we bring a case file to them, it's usually worked up pretty well. But all of this costs a lot of money to do. So just getting medical records alone, it's a lot of money.
Right.
And once we get the medical records, we spend a lot of time. Yes, we have a first-level review. Hopefully a paralegal can kind of pinpoint a few things just to kind of see what some of the issues are before they make it to my desk with a small memo. Or maybe they send it to the nurse practitioner in the office so she can get a little further deep into it. But by the time, we're talking a process of maybe 3 to 6 months down the road on a catastrophic injury where by the time we sit down, I'm talking to endocrinologist, neurologist, hospitalist, nurse practitioner, all the way up and down because I've got to prove a breach of a standard of care. That not just somebody that made a mistake, and it's not just a bad outcome, but I've got a breach of the standard of care, and that bad thing that was not standard in the national community among people just like you, whatever it is, whether it's a neurologist or a ED doc, then I have to go and prove and link up a causation. And that's not always easy. You'd think it would be. You'd like to just point a gun at it and go, there's just a straight line from one to the other, but that's not always the case. And then we have to anticipate the defenses that are going to come up because, again, this is going to take 3 or 4 years. We don't just file these and they just lay down. That's just not how it works.
No.
You get that a lot with, say, a car wreck case. The facts are the facts. You got video footage from the cameras. This guy ran the red light. He ran over a pedestrian. Case closed. It's really a question of how much insurance do they have and how much, are they going to have to pay for this particular injury. But it's just not how it works in Alabama in medical malpractice. So they don't lay down. So we have to spend a lot of time being very, very detailed and very rigorous in our analysis on the front end so that by the time we file the case, we're confident that we've got the goods. Yeah. And we've got the experts that are, the Johns Hopkins folks, the Mayo Clinic folks, whatever. These people are the ones that are telling us, hey, here's what's going on here, and this is why this is, frankly, out of bounds, and this is why this person died, or this person could have been saved if but for just this small thing. So we have a real rigorous process that we go through. And so, yes, 49 out of 50 get turned down.
Yeah. When we're talking about the cost, we're speaking with Justin Jones on the Legal Lowdown. He's a partner at Hare Wynn. When we're talking about the type of litigation you do, and it's my limited understanding of this, and you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong. When you take a doctor's deposition, talk about what that cost. I mean, people don't have any idea what you have to pay to take a doctor's deposition.
So, it's like, all right, you've had to do this. You go in a work comp case, and the guy won't even come in the room and talk to you until you give him a $1,000 check.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty routine. All right, well, so crank that up a little bit higher. If it's just a treating physician and they're associated with a practice group, or if they're associated with a hospital in some way, sometimes you can go in there and they won't charge you anything. I mean, they're in the records. They were part of the care. It kind of is what it is. But you still, by the time you get done with a 4 or 5 hour deposition where all the attorneys in the room ask questions, particularly if there's a lot of individuals and a lot of different, a lot of moving pieces in a complex case, you can easily spend $5,000 to $10,000 per deposition if it's video and transcribed, and if you get in a fight and you have to come back and do it again a little bit or whatever. So, some of it's the nature and purpose, and then sometimes you can get away with, a couple $1,000. But that's kind of the minimum. For just, a treating nurse, you're going to bring her in for an hour. Everybody asks questions. You walk away. By the time you get the transcripts and you pay for the court reporter and if you have to go out of town and rent a room somewhere, it's a couple $1,000 just for the thing itself. Now, if I have to go take an expert, like in Columbus or Boston, or I was in Palo Alto not too long ago, these places, a flight to Palo Alto is, even in main steerage is, it's $1,500.
Right.
Hotel, you can either rent a car or pay Uber. Got to pay the expert, and these expert fees, man, they for a neurologist from Stanford, it ain't cheap. We're talking probably $750 to $1,000 an hour just to look at the documents.
Wow.
Testimony for a deposition would probably start out at a minimum of $4,000 or $5,000 with a minimum of 4 hours. To bring them to trial, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. That's just the fees, not much less the plane costs, and much less putting them up in a hotel and everything else. So it gets real expensive, real quick, doing pretty much any case these days. But medical malpractice for sure.
Yeah, and my understanding, Justin, is that you're not going to find a doctor in the state of Alabama that's going to testify another doctor in the state of Alabama. So you got to go out of state to get your doctor if you're going to put on one of these kind of cases, right?
Yeah, for the most part. We have some cases where something is so clearly out of bounds in terms of the procedure that was done, the way it was done, that somebody they'll step in and maybe give some testimony, but usually that's on causation,
right? Not
standard of care. Doctors don't like testifying against other doctors. There's this whole phrase, conspiracy of silence, that you hear sometimes. It's in every motion in limine before we go to trial. And keep that phrase out, because the truth is, no, we cannot get an Alabama doctor to testify against another Alabama doctor in almost all cases, particularly when it involves saying they did something wrong. They breached the standard of care.
Yeah. All right, we're having a good conversation with Justin Jones. We'll be back after the break. We'll be back. Thanks.
You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with your lawyer, Joe Ingram. If you need confidential legal help off air, reach out to Joe at joeingramlaw.com. Stay tuned for more. Joe will be right back after this break for news and weather. You're listening to The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram. Joe is a 20-year veteran of the Alabama courts specializing in criminal defense and family law. If you need a private legal consultation, email Joe at joeingramlaw.com. And now, welcome back to The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram.
All right. It's The Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram, 105.5 WERC FM Birmingham. We told you earlier, coming January, we're going to be on in Huntsville, 102.5 WBHP. We're also going to be on in Tuscaloosa, 105.9 WRTR, Roll Tide Roll. So welcome to the Legal Lowdown, Huntsville and Tuscaloosa for 2026. We are speaking with Justin Jones. He is a partner at Hare Wynn. We were talking about medical malpractice cases, wrongful death cases, cases against hospitals and doctors. We were talking about deposition cost and things of that nature. During the break, I asked Justin a question that I want to talk about. Justin, explain to the audience out there, when you file a case like this in a rural county in Alabama, and most people don't understand the judicial system out there, the judges do everything, meaning they do civil, criminal, domestic relations cases. Explain to the average person out there, Justin, why is it taking 4 years for my case to get to trial?
Yeah, and that's actually, first off, it's a great question just in general, but it's something that every client wants to know on the front end, and a year later, and 2 years later, and 3 years later, and it's not unusual for our cases to stretch into 3 and 4 years, and it really has nothing to do with anything other than it's just every issue is so hotly contested. And before I could even get into the judges, I just get into the fact that when you file a medical malpractice lawsuit, or really any civil lawsuit, but particularly with medical negligence, they want to dig into every illness, sniffle, headache you've ever had in your whole life to see if there's some other reason for the cause of your death or your injury other than what their provider did or didn't do. And so, you get this really slowed down process, and then we get to let's take I don't want to call it any particular judge, and then they hear this one time. I have, when you go to rural counties, I will say, you go to Etowah County, great judges, very conscientious, move things along as best they can. But they also tend to see that these cases are complex. Medicine is complex. The largest employer in the county is being sued. The largest employer of the county's doctors are being sued. Some of these doctors are very, very well known, very well liked, and they should be. We're not trying to punish the doctors. We don't hate the doctors. We don't hate the hospitals. They do good work most of the time. But you have some political issues there, and this is not Etowah County related. Just as an example, when you go out there, a lot of these towns where you're talking about the biggest employer, you're talking about some of the most famous people in town. You get to a jury pool in a small enough town, that doctor has treated either someone in their family or them.
Yes, they have some connection to them.
You're actually having a tough time getting a jury seated in the box because there's just too much of a connection to this man that's been practicing medicine and probably been doing it well and probably a pillar of the community for 30, 40 years. And so not only does it take a while to get sort of all the background records and the paper discovery going on the front end, but then they also are working night shifts. They are working, if you got a specialist, they're on call a few days a week. They're doing surgeries on Tuesdays. They're doing rounds on Wednesdays or whatever. You can't just go up and just get a time to depose someone who's fixing backs or working on brains, right? These are high leverage people for the most part. They really are. And you have to kind of have some understanding going in. You can't make a lot of demands because they're out treating people. They may have messed this one up, but they're still out doing the Lord's work in other cases, right? So, you have a hard time scheduling depositions. And then, like you talk about experts, we've got to put ours up first. That's pretty much just usual. It's not really a rule, but it's kind of just the custom and practice around the state of Alabama. Plaintiffs put our experts up first. And that's just going to take some time. Again, we're going to different states. We're going to Florida. We're going to New York. We're going to, I've been Wisconsin, California, Oregon. I mean, we're going all over the country because some of these issues are very specialized. I've got a guy up in Chicago right now. He's an endocrinologist, but it's a very specific kind of case that I'm dealing with over in Tuscaloosa County. So I need a very specific type of endocrinologist, and so we'll have to schedule his deposition. You can't just call him up and get him to drop everything he's doing. He's talking all over the world, doing conferences, whatever. So you have all these sort of systemic reasons just from the nature of the litigation itself that sort of cause the delays. And then you have the judges. All that to say, you get to the judges, and they are doing mostly criminal work, mostly family law. They are getting calls at night to put in, quick orders because somebody violated a restraining order kind of thing. I mean, they are overworked and underpaid. That's just a fact. I mean, they are. And most of the judges that we have in the state of Alabama, honestly, they are as good as they can be. They really want to get it right. But they're not specialists in any one thing.
Right.
They're general practitioners. And particularly a lot of them, you don't have a lot of high-dollar civil litigators quit doing that to become judges. Right? I mean, it's not a slight on anybody or whatever. But so what we have is a judge that may have never done civil litigation ever for any reason other than I guess you could call domestic work sort of civil litigation. To the extent they have ever dealt with a medical malpractice case, our case is probably their first exposure. And the laws are completely different, not just from the rest of the Alabama laws, but from the rest of the country's laws when it comes to, Alabama's medical malpractice laws are very restrictive. We can't get insurance information, for example. It's just a no-no. The statute says you can't have it. I can't get into any other acts or omissions that a doctor may have committed in the past or a nurse may have committed in the past. I don't care how similar it was, and I don't care how many people might have died because of it. It's completely irrelevant according to statute in a medical malpractice case. So you get in front of judges who, as hard as they're trying and as much as they want to be engaged, they're having to learn a whole new specialty of law just to call balls and strikes.
You got to educate the judge.
You have to.
Right.
And what they prefer to do then is just, I'll let the parties handle it. Well, if it's up to me, we'd be up and down in 16 months. But it's not up to me. I've got to work with the defense lawyers, and they don't like us being in too much conflict because it's already contentious enough. There's already enough motions to compel. There's already enough heat in the case the day it was filed. And so you have a judge that is not specialized in this, has probably certainly never filed one, but maybe have never even presided over a trial concerning these issues. So you got to educate them. They're more than willing to keep pushing and kicking the can down the road because it's all. Oh, and by the way, all these trials take a couple weeks. I don't even want to sit through a couple week trial. It's just it is what it is. I've got a case in federal court in front of Judge Heikla. We've got I think 12 or 14 experts in that case.
Wow.
It's a 2 or 3 week case.
Yeah.
It's just a long time. You can't just put them up and down in a day. There's just a lot of information, particularly this one. It involves a stroke. And so, we've got to educate the judge and the jury about the brain before we even get started talking about the rest of the case.
Hey, Justin, I had a quick question that just came to my mind because to the average person out there, they're not on your level. Do you ever look over at the jury box and go, we're losing the jury in the minutia of the
all the time.
Of the testimony? You go, we got to get something back to meat and potatoes. Yeah. Makes sense?
Yeah, no, that all the time. And because it happens all the time, what we really focus on, particularly in a brain case or particularly in an ischemic bowel case, right, where you've got all this going on down in your stomach, it's all twisted and turned, it's weird, who knows? The language that these doctors use is just, you probably, even as a lawyer, you still haven't heard these words sometimes. And so, not only am I having to learn medicine, but now I've got to distill it down to folks that, even if they're PhD level people, they're bored to death when you start getting into that kind of minutia, which is necessary for me to prove my case.
Right.
I have to get it on record.
Right.
but they're sitting there bored to death. We try to focus group our cases. The more catastrophic it is, the higher the damage numbers they are, especially the more necessary it becomes to make sure that you are, before you ever step in a courthouse, I want to have taken my case to 12 random people. And there are companies in Birmingham and elsewhere that do this, right? Yeah. So I'm going to focus group it to them. I'm going to present the defense's best case. I'm going to present the defense's best case. Sorry about that. I thought I turned it off. And I'm going to present just my case. I'm going to try to shade it in favor of the defense and just present just my case as I see it and see what the problems are. And then you get your feedback from those folks, and you kind of get an idea of how to go ahead and distill the information you need to down enough. But nevertheless, every trial, every time, you get in there and you're losing them.
Yeah.
And that is the art of trial advocacy. I was talking to Mr. Ashford, Leon Ashford, the managing partner in our firm. He's giving a speech coming up at the winter conference for the Alabama Association for Justice. And part of it is the interplay between AI and trial work. And the truth is, and we just had this conversation, it was yesterday, AI has been great for helping us prepare and do all the things that we need to be better, more efficient lawyers in terms of knowledge and workflow. But at the end of the day, you have to go and stand in front of a jury and look them in the eyes. They have to know that you're sincere, that you're not trying to pull one over on them.
Yeah.
Because juries are smart. And AI is not going to help you there. So, yeah, it happens. I mean, you that's really out of the gate, too, almost. I mean, it's kind of like when your first real chance to get up in front of them, an opening statement. And these opening statements, I mean, you need 4 hours.
Right.
But you really, what's the attention span here? I mean, it's in reality, you got 45 minutes, and that's if you're on fire and you got a lot of visuals going on with you, behind you, and you're doing your best to make it like CSI on TV.
Right.
So that they'll just not tune out. And that's not including any of the other biases or any other things. They may not even want to hear what you have to say before you ever say it. So, yeah, you're constantly reevaluating where you are in light of how their body language reads or how the judges reads.
Right.
Sometimes more important, they take a lot of cues from the judges. So, yeah, We're really trying to figure out how to make this as simple as possible from the outset of the case.
When I was in law school and I clerked at the DA's office and then became a DA briefly, the first question they asked me was, do you think you have to be believable or likable to the jury? That's a tough question because it's really both
in
front of a jury.
Yeah. I mean, even if they believe they don't like you, I'm not sure that helps you much.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, I think believability.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we could probably relate to that. You can look at somebody and be like, I can't stand this, but he's a straight shooter. I mean, and that goes a long way.
Right.
So you might still make a deal.
Right.
So they don't have to necessarily like you. And God knows if that's the case, I'm going to do something in trial that makes me unlikable. I can't help myself. I mean, it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or my client, frankly, might be unlikable.
Right.
And that makes it even harder because now I'm trying to advocate on somebody that no one really feels sorry for, or no one, they don't. Why would I give this guy? Because we're always asking for millions of dollars. I mean, you ever seen $1 million in a briefcase? It's a lot of money, right? And so, people are, what's my incentive? And so at the end of the day, they have to believe me. In order to believe me, they have to trust me. Hopefully they like me at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that gets you to trust a little bit quicker,
mm-hmm.
just from a base psychology perspective. But, if I had to pick of the two, believability. I mean, and we have to, particularly I feel like, and this is true in every bit of litigation that I've ever been involved in, and I have done some criminal work poorly, I might add. But, being right and being fastidious about being right and not making it up, the more I can give you the information, and it's not just my opinion of how things are supposed to be. Mm-hmm. This is how it is. Look at the record. This guy, turn around and do all your theatrics in the courtroom, he's the one that wrote it down. So you don't have to believe me. I've shown you what the answer is. So I'm the more we can point to something else and the more our experts sort of lend credibility to our case, it makes my job a lot easier.
Tell me, have you ever had a case, goes to the jury, you feel like you're going to win it, and then you lose it? What's that feeling like?
I had that feeling in August.
Okay.
Guy has acute limb ischemia, which is sudden lack of blood flow to a limb, to a leg. In his case, it was the left leg. We didn't, per se lose the case, but it hung. And we thought we had him.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. We had 10 of them. 2 of them we didn't have. And surprisingly, one of the 2 I never would have thought. And of the people I was most worried about, they were the ones going back into the jury room, telling how much money they wanted to give.
Mm.
And they were pissed. That's how you get big verdicts. People were mad.
Mm.
That tends to be what happens. That happened literally in August. I was shocked that they kept coming back to the judge saying we're deadlocked. Of course, that's not a law, so I got to retry that case again this year, and we will, because they're not paying enough money. But and I feel like we can get them again, but it only takes one. In Alabama, you got 12 people on a jury.
Yeah.
I have to have all 12. The defense lawyer has to have 1.
Yeah.
And so, I got that. How does it feel? It's tough, I'm really involved with my kids and my family. I think it's important to not let my job, as much as I love my job and as much time as it requires, I don't want it to have any real effect. My kids play baseball, they play football, they're doing all this stuff, and so it's tough when you have to hole up in a Hampton Inn for a week and a half, and you're going to bed at 1 in the morning, you're waking up at 5 or 6, wash, rinse, repeat every single day, and you got to be on when you're in court. You know this. There's no breaks. It's that 1 minute that you're dozing off is going to get you.
Yeah.
That you didn't hear the testimony right or something like that. So that sort of sunk feeling that when I heard them say we're hopelessly deadlocked, that's what the foreman said to the judge. And this was after he'd sent him back a couple of times, and we basically got to the point where he's going to call it. He's going to mistry the case. My first thought was, I've just spent 10 days, and my kids, they've probably grown up since I've been gone, and life just passes you by, and then I turn around and look at my client. I can handle losing, personally. If you do trial law long enough, you're just going to lose some cases. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You might lose more than you win, but you do it long enough, you're going to get your butt handed to you at some point.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like that happened in this case, but I look over at my client who does not have a leg.
This is his one case.
This is his one
or
chance.
her one case.
Yeah. His one chance. Now, thankfully, it just mistried, and we didn't just flat out lose, right?
Right.
But this is his one chance.
Right.
And, man, that's a lot of weight on our shoulders. That's why I get offended by the ambulance chase and talk and the tort reform talks and everything else. I don't think people realize how hard, at least the good ones, I think we're the good ones, how hard we work to get it right before we ever even file the case.
Yeah.
How hard we work to make sure that we're following the law and that we're doing this for the right reasons, for patient advocacy and for healthcare accountability. The money will come for these clients. It'll come. The jurors will get it, and they tend to get it right. And I'm not saying they got it wrong in the case I just got hung up in August, but it is tough to watch your client walk away with their head down.
Yeah.
And that's what kills me. I can take the loss. I can't for them though. I hate it.
Yeah. I understand that. Any type of work you do in the law, you always want to win. Nobody likes to lose, because I had a case last year, Justin. The other side said, "Joe, why are you so driven to win?" And I looked at them, and they're an incredible lawyer. I said, "Well, let me ask you, how did you make all that money all your lifetime? When people come in your office, did they say, how many times did you lose? No. They hire you because they say, are you good at what you do?"
Yeah.
And we are in a very, very competitive profession. It's ultra competitive.
Yeah. And all alphas
Yeah.
hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. And I think my my very peculiar market is less competitive in terms of the number of people out there chasing for the same cases.
Right.
But I have done the Social Security and the work comps and the car wrecks and everything else, and I mean it's kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that, I mean it's your lifeline. It's how you make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I want to win? Well, somebody's got to eat.
Yeah.
That's why. Pay the mortgage.
And we trade on our name. I tell people that every day. I trade on my name.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything. Look. I mean, we would. There are easier ways to make money. I'll say that too. So I don't want anyone to get the understanding from either of us that we're in it for the money, because there are much easier ways to make a lot more money than what we do, without the stress. Mm-hmm. There are. I mean, we all. I mean, I know there are, because those people out there doing that, they're calling me to help. Do I know a lawyer that help them close this massive $1 million deal? Yeah, call this guy. So I mean, we do want to pay. We do want to get paid for what we do. Particularly, you're at least billing by the hour or getting a retainer. Yeah. I've got on every given case that I have, it's 4 years without a paycheck on that case. Mm. In the meantime, I'm spending $100,000 or more on every single case. So, yeah, I mean, we have to win in that respect.
Let me ask you a question. This is Justin Jones of Hare Wynn, folks. He's a fascinating guy. I love him so much every time I talk to him. And I don't know how he feels about me. After today, I might never hear from him again. Justin, from my perspective, this is how I feel about practicing law. If you do what you love and you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Sure. I don't feel like I work for a living, and I really mean that.
I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that, but that we are the exception to the greater rule, I think. I don't know a lot of happy lawyers out there. Honestly, I don't. I mean, in fact, they seem miserable all the time. I think, going all the way back to the beginning, full circle, I was in ministry, and I said I switched to the dark side. But I truly have always felt like it was almost a calling. That's why it doesn't feel like work to me. I feel like I'm doing some good, and I'm actually getting to help people in tangible ways. And particularly, when somebody's, we're dealing with desperate people a lot. There are really bad circumstances. And I mean, particularly, I don't know that I can handle being a divorce lawyer, family law guy. I mean, you are meeting, women that have been abused, children that have been abused, coming into situations like that, the emotional toll that takes on you, the weight of the world that it puts on your shoulders. I don't think people realize how nasty divorces get. I mean, I hear stories hit on TV, but in reality, there are small kids that are going to be traumatized for the rest of their life by some of the behavior going on by supposedly two adults, right?
Right.
I mean, so it's no different. I mean, it's a different type of catastrophic injury, and that's what we're both dealing with. And so I do think it's a calling. And I think if you don't love doing it, you're in the wrong game anyway. Yeah. So regardless of how you feel about it, and I agree with you. Yeah. It doesn't feel like work. I enjoy going to the office every day. But at the same time, I feel like there's a higher purpose to it.
Okay. Well, we're about to wrap up, folks. We've had a fascinating conversation today with Justin Jones. He's a partner at Hare Wynn. If you have a serious medical malpractice case or a case against a hospital, I would suggest that you call Justin Jones. He would definitely have your best interest at heart. And, folks, this is going to be the last broadcast for the year for the Legal Lowdown. As we teed up at the beginning of the hour, we're going to be on in Huntsville in Tuscaloosa, and when we're back in 26. And, man, I'm going to be back roaring and ready to go. I got some good stories for you. My time off for the rest of the year, I'm going to get in some serious runs. Y'all know how much I talk about running. I haven't got to run as much lately. I intend to crank up my mileage next year. I have some really special goals set for me in 26. I'm going to get back to running some serious marathons again.
Stay out of crosswalks in Mountain Brook.
Yeah. Got hit by a car this year, folks. Got hit by a car.
Made the podcast yet? Come on.
I hadn't even talked about it. Yeah,
right.
John, I got hit by a car running.
Did he stop?
He actually did stop after he hit me. Yeah.
Was he a former client or somebody you took to court?
No. I was running through Mountain Brook. The guy went through the crosswalk crosswalk and hit me. Bam! Right.
Was it like he was looking to his left and didn't look to his right kind of thing? Like he was making a right on red kind of thing, so he's looking to his left, not thinking about where his car is going, just what's coming?
Yeah, so he's seeing me coming, and, he's looking left, he's looking right. I'm looking at his eyes. I kept running. He hit the gas. Bam! He hit me. He had a big Dodge Ram.
Did you get a big settlement?
I haven't been paid yet. Thanks to Justin. No, Justin's not doing the case. Justin had a conflict. But anyway, going to be back to running. Folks, a couple things I want to share with you quick. Make your goal list for 2026. 1 through 10 are easy. 10 through 50 are a little more difficult. 50 to 100 should not be pipe dreams. You can still knock some of those off. Make a list of 300. I make a list of 300 goals every year. I picked off some between 100 and 200 and 200 and 300. You can do this. Be the best of whatever you want to be. We'll see you back next year in 26. Got to go. Bye.
Joe Ingram of Joe Ingram Law. Don't forget to follow Joe's Legal Lowdown podcast on iHeart. If you need a private legal consultation, reach out to Joe on his website, joeingramlaw.com. Tune in again next Saturday for the Legal Lowdown with Joe Ingram. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by any other lawyer.